Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Allyson Mancini. I'm your holistic nutritionist.
And I'm Julietta, the magical PT. Welcome to our Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, uplift, and support women in becoming the goddess they are meant to be. Today, we are joined by my friend Anthea. I want to say thank you and welcome to our podcast. And I'd like you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about what you do.
All right. Hi. My name is Anthea Daley, and I guess you could say I'm an explorer, entrepreneur, and I'm not sure if I'm live or not because my screen is frozen, and you all may be seeing.
We can hear you and see you just fine.
Okay, excellent. My screen is frozen. So I'm an entrepreneur and an explorer, and pretty much like to do things where I am in control of my own time. So right now I am on a road trip. I've been on a road trip since the middle of June. Well, actually the first week of June. And we're in Rapid City, South Dakota right now. So the internet is a little spotty. I can say that it's been like that for the entire trip.
Well, and you've been all up like in that northwestern, north central area of the country, which just seems like the boonies to me, even being from, Wisconsin, being from the Midwest. When you get way up there, to me, like in my perception of it, it's like you're definitely in the middle of nowhere.
I am in the middle of nowhere. Yes, it does seem that way for me as well. It's weird not having internet for almost 2 months, just now and then I'll be able to get on. But we started the trip the beginning of June, like I said, and have gone to Utah, Nevada, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Colorado Springs, Yellowstone, most recently, back to Colorado, Wyoming, and now we're in South Dakota. So we were in Deadwood last night, and that was pretty fun. So we're going to be going to the Badlands and maybe Mount Rushmore after I leave here.
Quite the journey.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. I would love to be on that trip. I was in Utah for a week and I had no internet, and that was rough for a week. So I can imagine this long, but don't feel bad. I'm in Fort Lauderdale and my Wi-Fi has been super spotty for like a week and a half. So it doesn't matter where you are.
Well, thank you for taking the time out on your journey to join us.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. After I leave here, it's going to be the Northeast, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, and then back to Florida. So the journey continues. I'll probably be back in Florida towards the end of August or September.
Nice.
But I've been anticipating this, so I wanted to just make sure that I am here and just give my input to others out there.
Awesome. So are you ready for us to dive into our questions?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Our first question is, what is your superpower? Or if you don't know what yours is, what would you want your superpower to be?
All right. So, you know what? That took me a while to figure out. And then I realized that over the years, and I kind of collaborated with a couple of people as well. Over the years, I realized that so many things have happened to me that could probably would be considered, a lot of setbacks. All right. And I try not to let things bother me. I don't let it depress me. I don't let it get me down. I think my superpower is.
Oh no. Just as she was about to share it with us.
No, that stinks. Dang it.
Oh. So, well, you and I can chat here for a couple minutes and see if she manages to get back on.
Okay, so let's talk about our superpowers. No, I'm serious, because we haven't done this in a long time. We have a lot of new audience members. So, Julietta, What is your superpower?
My superpower is I'm a magician. I make magic. And I think, mostly it's, as a non-traditional physical therapy, like when I do the stuff that I do on the table with my clients and, they're like, oh my God, how did you do that? That's amazing. Like, sometimes they're just blown away by what happens physically to their bodies when they're on the table. But I think what to me is even more magical is when I see the light bulb turn on about them, just like connecting with themselves and connecting with their higher being and their purpose. And, these magical conversations, end up happening on the bed. And that's, I love that. And I love being the facilitator for that.
I would agree.
And you, dear?
So, I think I've decided that my superpower is, and I've always been like this, I am a really good read of people. Like I just kind of get a feeling for people, whether it's a gut instinct or the energy they throw off. But I'm usually like, when I meet someone and have conversation with them, I can really kind of tell, I don't want to say good or bad, but, just I kind of get a feeling for how they are. And I recently had someone say to me, and I know you know way more about this than I do, but they said to me, are you an empath? And I'm like, I don't know. And the way that they described it to me was, when you watch a movie, do you feel like you're part of the movie? Like, do you feel very emotionally tied to the characters? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. I'm like, I can't even watch movies. Like I have to turn movies off all the time because I get so emotionally tied up in what's happening on them that it's almost like painful. Like I can't take it. It makes me sick to my stomach if it's really sad or it's really intense or traumatic or any movies with animals in it, I'm about over the edge. Like I can't even handle it. But it really finally, I realized I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that is so me. And what really did it was recently Nick and I were trying to watch a movie. We were like 30 minutes into it. And I got up and I said, I can't watch this anymore. He's like, what? I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. He's like, why? What's wrong with you? I said, this is so upsetting to me. I'm like, this is not upsetting you. Like, this is so upsetting to me. And he's like, Allyson, it's a movie. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I can't do it. And I watched it. I just couldn't do it. And so I didn't really realize that I had that. I mean, I always kind of knew I was a good read for people and I had that good gut instinct about people, but I didn't really understand it very well. So I'm learning more about that and exploring that with myself. So I would say that's my superpower.
Well, and I think having the awareness of it, that in itself will allow you to develop it further. It's something that everybody has in them. It's just most people have shut it off. And it can be scary. It can be frustrating. It can be overwhelming. I remember early in my career when I started feeling my patient's pain. I'd be working on a patient, all of a sudden I'd have this horrendous pain in my elbow. And I'm like, what is that? I'm in my head, I'm having this what is this? And then the patient would be like, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, but I also have this pain in my elbow. And I'd be like, oh, that's not my pain. That's their pain that I'm feeling. the worst ever was once I was at this like Qigong, it was like this big group workshop class weekend thing. And we're all sitting in this hotel conference room, and like I was in all this pain. I'm like, my back hurt, my neck hurt, my hips hurt. And I was like, none of this hurt before I got here. Like, what is going on? And then people in the room started sharing their stories of, and like all of a sudden I had this realization, like almost everybody that's here is here because they're in pain and they're looking for solutions and healing in their life. And I'm just feeling all of it. Like, and so there was like that moment where I was like, I want to shut this off. I want this turned off. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. But then really luckily, like, so the first thing I learned was like how to bubble and how to keep that off of me. It's like, that's other people's stuff. It doesn't penetrate my space. I can be aware of it, but it doesn't get to penetrate me. And then later on, and I don't remember who, where, what, got the message, and this might be useful for you, like when you're watching your movies, is that it's all energy and it just flows. So even if it comes through me, it doesn't get to stay in me. It just gets to keep moving on. And that was like the big win for me in being able to be empathic and feel what's going on in the world without it having any kind of negative, overwhelming impact on my being.
Yeah, because it's kind of longer. I can't really watch stuff anymore. Like I can't really get in. It's hard for me to watch movies, even real documentary, anything. And I used to really enjoy that. So I need to learn how to just let it flow.
Yeah. And again, that is also just something that's like, it's not like tactile, like learning how to make the pen go back in, you push the button on the top and the pen, it's not like something physical like that, but just having the awareness and knowing like this is just an energy, it just flows. So this is all in your imagination. Right. So just imagine it flowing through, and it doesn't, those emotions that are, making it difficult for you to watch the movie, they don't need to stick in you. They can just float through you.
I'll have to remember that. Okay, let's keep going. We'll just ask you and I the questions. We'll go through it because it's been a while since we've done this, so they might have changed.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, all right. So, what's your favorite book right now? What's your go? One that's really impacted you lately.
So, and because you brought this up earlier, I recently read, thanks to you. Is it The Big Leap? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, The Big Leap.
Yeah, The Big Leap. So he talks about upper limit problems, and excuse me, but I'm just like thinking like, oh my God, I've created so many upper limit problems in my life that at the time, it was like, oh, it was this thing. It was always like something outside of me that was limiting my moving forward and success. And like reading that book was like, wow, that had nothing. It was like all on me. I created all of it. Wow. Like I really love that book. And it's one that I'm like recommending to a lot of people. And I'm like, I just read it and maybe I want to read it again.
It's a great book. And that was actually one of the books that Kimberly, with her coaching program that we read. And I was like, that was so good. Yeah, I need to reread it because it's one of those you really could read again. I read it fast too. Really fast.
Well, and also, because then someone brought up the other book that he wrote, so I may have to try that one too.
Right. Okay.
And for you?
So I'm kind of torn. So one of my really go-to books lately, it's called How Not to Die. And it's really all about nutrition and how really the food that we eat, if we ate good foods, we could really give ourselves longevity and quality of life. But what I really want to share with you guys is this book. So this is a book I just started reading, and oh my gosh, it is a complete it will really help you. It's like taking The Secret and a lot of those kinds of books and really she gives 5 experiments that you actually get to do. So you spend time doing these experiments and you get to see how the universe really does work, and how, just like you said to me, how I've kind of closed my mind to being how everybody is really an empath, and we just kind of like close that part of our minds down. This book really shows you how there's so much more going on around us that we just are completely oblivious to. But when we pay attention to it through these experiments she gives you, it's very, very mind blowing. And you're like, oh, holy cow, I can create my whole own little world. Like, what was that? What have I been doing for 50 years? So it's a great book. It's called E2 by Pam Grout. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, I forgot about that book. I read that book, I don't even know how many years ago, but I totally forgot about it. Cool.
Okay. Self-care.
Self-care. All right. My new one, and this is something I used to do all the time. And between all the changes in my business and moving and pandemic, and it had just fallen off my radar probably for 3 years or so. I love getting pedicures, and I went and got a pedicure 2 weekends ago. Oh my God. Like, I was just in heaven, and I'm like,
something about rubbing feet, right?
I used to rub my feet all day long. So
I got Nick to rub my feet the other night.
Did he?
For like a minute. Oh, Anthea got back on. We'll let her get set up here for a second. Okay, so yours is pedicure. My self-care is going off the grid one day a week.
Oh, yeah, because you did that.
On Sunday, I decided that's it. No, nothing. Social media, no computer, no email. The only thing I used my phone for was to talk to my children or my husband. That was all. And it was lovely. And I needed it. And I'm going to continue to do it every Sunday. I had to plan a little ahead to get some things out of the way, but I did it. And it was fabulous.
All right. So
there she is.
Whew.
It's all good.
I'm telling you, technology, I love it, but it also can drive you crazy.
Of course it
can. Wow.
All right, worries, girl. We were asking ourselves the questions. So if you're ready, we're going to dive. Oh, because you started saying what your superpower was, and then
we didn't get it. It was like your superpower was you disappeared.
Her superpower is invisibility.
Yes. Well, you know what? I was saying that my superpower is finding the silver lining in every situation. And I have had lots of setbacks in my life over the many years, right? So it's just always finding that silver lining that prevents me from becoming depressed or, taking the down road. So it's always finding the positive in every situation. So what's the positive in this situation? I haven't figured it out yet, but...
Hey, you know what? You got right back on. That's huge.
I did. Yes, perseverance and persistence. That's another thing. So that's pretty much what I think my silver lining is. My
superpower.
Silver lining. Yes. So taking deep breaths right now to ensure that I'm coming back into the zone.
You're in our zone, Anthea. All is good in the world.
Getting back into the zone.
Cool.
So that's my superpower, I think.
And it's a great superpower to have. And it's so easy, like in life right now, to just like things happen, and it's just so easy to get down in the muck of it. And I say that all the time when something bad happens. It's like, this happened for a reason. You might not see it right now, but it's going to become clear to you why this happened. Exactly. And it's really happening. It's really happening for you, not to you.
Yes.
And so, the silver lining will present itself. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Our second question, Anthea, and we always say this one's hard because it's hard to pick just one, but what is your favorite book, or what is a book that has greatly influenced your life?
So over the years, it had been, I've read a few books that I've really enjoyed. Napoleon Hill books I've always been, in tuned and enthralled by his books. But most recently, and I'm going to say that this is my favorite book right now, is The Power of the Subconscious Mind. I believe his name is Joseph Murphy. Extremely good book. I'm still actually going through it. I'm kind of going slow through it because I want to just, get everything in. But I have found where that book has been so beneficial, on so many levels for me. And I'd always, of course, known that you can manifest things. And whether it's be for good or for bad, you're actually manifesting something, So our minds are so powerful, we don't realize that if we're bringing in negative experiences, we just did that to ourselves. Not external factors, we created that, all right? So the same thing is, the flip side is, create good things or good thoughts. And so it's just brought that even more to the forefront for me. So that's really, really the path that I'm on in terms of making sure that everything that I do, I'm making sure that it's something that's positive, to continue to bring that positive experiences in, And if there is something negative that's happening, okay, so now I've got to stop and think, how did I manifest that? And what can I do to change that, to cancel it, to also allow just the positives in. So that's the book that really is beneficial for me right now.
And that's such a powerful message. Like, so often people want to, put the blame of anything on others. And, when you accept responsibility for it, there's so much power in that.
Yep.
And, I think that's, and we've learned these lessons along the road together, Anthea, through our trainings and stuff that we've done together. Yeah. And, it's, that message shows up over and over again. So there's a lot to that.
Absolutely right.
We've got an extra special guest on the show here.
So this is my son's 98-pound dog, and he decided he wanted to be in my lap right at that moment.
Oh, hey, that's all right. That's all right.
Go with it. He needed a little love and attention for a second, but it's all good. I agree with you. Juliet and I were just actually talking about that, about how, we manifest so much in our world, everything in our world, and we don't even realize that we're doing it. And it's a great point to make. When something negative, you need to sit back and take a look at, like, what was that? What was going on there that I manifested that? Like,
yes.
that's interesting. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you know what? Even if we say, I don't want that to happen, you're actually, by dwelling on it, you're literally bringing it in, what you don't want, So change the words, change the emotion behind it, and you'll actually get what you do want to come in. Like, okay, case in point. I was very anxious about ensuring that I was on time for this, making sure I found the right place along the route, plotting my chart, plotting the route to see from one city to the next where I would be in order to be able to have Wi-Fi and to make sure that I got here on time. And it was just, things kept happening. Anxiety kept pushing that away. And then, of course, now the internet, so it's taking that step back and not letting things be so stressful, basically, and just let it happen organically.
And the silver lining of this is, like, you saw this all in action and you learned from it.
Exactly.
Next time, no anxiety about it. You just have confidence that it's going to flow, it's going to happen, the internet connection's going to be perfect.
Exactly.
Love it. All right. Our next question, Anthea, is what is your favorite self-care practice?
So mine is, apart from reading, I'm a very avid reader. I love to read. I just love my own space in reading and my own thoughts, especially in the morning hours. But what I've really found that I love is going for long walks. And it's got to be by some body of water, a little stream, a little canal, whatever it is. And then while I'm out there, I'm always taking pictures of the birds, of the sky, of, the way the trees look, of the clouds. And that really centers me and brings me back. I could be in a space of, I'm not going to say negative space, but how sometimes household chores and household things throws you off. I just say, all right, you know what? Time for a walk. And I would just get out, go for a walk and recenter. So that helps me too. That really is my centering point.
Nice. Yeah. Nature, Mother Nature can heal us all.
Yes.
And
it's a real healing point.
Yeah. When we live here in the city and the hustle and bustle, and it can make it difficult to really connect with nature. And
surely does.
Finding a way to do that is super important.
Yeah. And fortunately for me, where I live in Fort Lauderdale, there is a canal right behind where I live. So it's just a few steps away from my front door. I can go out and take a long walk.
Nice. So when we started this podcast, we interviewed a lot of women who are, our potential listeners here.
Yes.
About what they wanted support with. And the thing that came up over and over again was accountability. So how do you create accountability in your life, Anthea?
Okay, so I do tend to use a lot of Post-it notes. And and I set a lot of alarms for myself. So on my phone, it's an alarm for everything, just so that I try not to go crazy with them going off all the time. So I monitor that. But that's, for me, that's self-accountability, is setting those alarms for myself and making sure that I'm fulfilling all of, if I promise somebody to do something, then that alarm goes off so I can call that person to do whatever it is that they asked me to. If I need to complete a class or do whatever it is, I'm always on schedule with that. So I try not to be stressed out, like I said, by it at all. Definitely not stressed out, but that's the reason why I set those alarms, so that not only am I accountable to me, but to, if I give my promise to somebody else, my word, I believe, is bond. So.
And I find that because we've had a couple guests that use their phones to, set the reminders. And to me, it sounds like a fantastic idea, but I'm so not the techie person. So even though I know it's a possibility, it's not something that it's rare that I set myself an alarm or reminder on my phone to remind me to do something. But, and that's why, different things work for different people. And so I laugh. So even though because I consider you one of my techie friends, you're on your computer a lot, you get tech. I'm not a tech person. And so kind of funny that you were the one struggling to get on the internet.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Yes, it is. My tech almost failed me today, but I still love it, It's like a little baby. They drive you crazy sometimes, but you love them because you can't, you gotta love them, So that's just how it is. And I have an affinity for tech. I have an affinity for fixing things, anything that's mechanical, anything that needs to be screwed up, anything that needs to be hammered in. I've got an affinity to putting things together. So I'm extremely patient with it. So that's all right.
Yeah, I kind of lose my patience when it comes to tech.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I need to learn from you, Anthea.
Yeah, I always say, because I do computer repairs as well. And when people around me, they're going crazy because their computer isn't working and they're ready to throw it out the door. I'm like, it's okay. Just got to understand how it works. And I'll sit with it and get it fixed regardless of, and I'm extremely patient with the process because I do understand it's a machine. Even if it's putting together a entertainment console, it's something that needs to be put together. So it's just a matter of looking at it, analyzing it, and getting it done. So I'm extremely patient with things like that.
That's awesome.
I wish I had a background. My background is so bland.
You're fine. You're fine. It actually makes you look like you're glowing, so you're good.
Oh, it's all right. Thank you.
Awesome. So it is time for our takeaways. Allyson, do you have a takeaway for today?
I do. I'm going to try to do this in between dogs barking. So my takeaway today actually is one of perseverance and pushing through whatever is going on. So it has been an interesting time. And I think I was thinking about it. If what had happened, like how Anthea lost service and we lost her, and Julietta and I just kind of had to go in transition, I would have been anxious and panicking, a few years ago and been like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? It's going to be everyone. And now the dog's barking. So, I would have been all stressed out about it. And honestly, it's all good. This is working out beautifully. We lost Anthea. Juliet and I hung out. It was nice. We got to chat for a few minutes. Anthea joined us again. She showed major perseverance. She's here. Dog's barking. It's all good. And I think that is probably my biggest takeaway is just take a deep breath, relax, persevere, and it all works out.
Yep.
It does. Yes. And my takeaway was similar too. I know for sure that had this happened a few years back, I would have called it, okay, this one's a wrap. We're done. This isn't going to happen. And, we both just stayed so calm and it's it's fine. It's all good. This happened for a reason. I'm sitting there going, you know what? Something that you or I said somebody out there needed to hear. And we wouldn't have said that if we did not have this tech glitch that we had. And, there was a reason for it. We'll find out. Maybe someone will message us later. Oh my God, that thing you said was the exact thing I needed to hear. Some, who knows? So yeah, that was awesome for me to see both of us just sitting here being this is okay. All right. We're just going to talk and see if she can make it back. And if she makes it back, great. And if she doesn't, it's okay. We'll bring her on another time. But you did make it back. We're so happy you did, Anthea. So what's your takeaway for today, Anthea?
Yeah, well, you know what? My takeaway is absolutely the same as yours, both of you, because it's persistence, it's staying calm, it's not being stressed out by the things that were a little bit out of my control at that moment, and just going with the flow and enjoying the moment nonetheless, so that is my takeaway, is just smile through it, and don't let things bother us to the point of being frustrated with life. Just enjoy life, basically.
Exactly. When you had mentioned control and things being out of our control, and the truth in life is that everything is out of our control.
Yeah.
When we think that we have control, we're just fooling ourselves.
Yes.
Because the powers that be can come along and just laugh at us and take that right away.
Like
oh, you think you're controlling this? Let me show you. So, when you relax and you realize that you never have any control, and you get to go with the flow and make the most of it.
And I get to go back on this interview and listen to the parts that I missed with you two lovely ladies.
You'll have to let us know what you think.
Yeah, I want to be able to pick up one of those tidbits as well, So I really do appreciate you both. I have listened to the past podcasts and have been very inspirational. So, I think that's probably one of the things I was looking at as well. It being where I wanted to ensure that I'm coming on, I'm giving my input, I'm not disappointing you both by, being out there on the road, having a great grand time, and then having this responsibility of being here. But, it's been very beneficial for me listening to your past podcasts.
Thank you. Listen, and you would never disappoint us.
We're all about being genuine and authentic. That is, being real. That's one of the things Julietta and I really want. We want people to see that, it doesn't always work out exactly how you planned it to work out. And you can push right through that and be all fine. Right. And all good. This has been incredible. I've loved this interview. Thank you so much, Anthea.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much too for taking the time. You're doing this trip, and the fact that you took the time out of it. Like, you could be seeing Mount Rushmore or the Badlands right now, and you're hanging with us, and I appreciate that so much. Yeah. And
I'll be sending pictures.
I would love to see them. Yes. So thank you to you, and thank you to our audience for listening. And if you've liked what you heard, please subscribe on YouTube, on our podcast, and share it with your friends. And all the information that we talked about in this podcast and how to get in touch with any of us, that information will be in the show notes or in the comments below. And I think that's a wrap. Have a magical day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.